Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded on Saturday, February 21st, 2026, and then posted to our YouTube channel on Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, even hype the channel, all those things really help, and we greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, we gather questions for these shows from our YouTube channel under the post section. We put out a request on Monday mornings and then close it down by like Friday afternoon or something. My wife then goes through them. I think we had 800 questions this week. I think right now in this show we have something like 70 questions to go through real time. My wife does pick a representative sample of questions, and then that's how we go through on this show. Also, last but not least, for those that want to engage in live streams that I do on Friday mornings, Pacific time zone, answer a lot of personal questions for viewers. We do mediumship, have lots of fun, lots of insights. You can join our Platinum YouTube membership. The join button's on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as the website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. There's also a detailed membership tab there, explains everything about the membership. So, with no further delay, let's get into today's show here. There are a number of people that passed away recently. There were two individuals that popped through very recently for me and I communicated with. I want to share those with you. One is the Reverend Jesse Jackson. The other is the actor Robert Duvall. So I want to kind of go through. I always like to take copious notes when they talk so that I can communicate exactly what they wanted to say. So let's start off here. Number 70, are there any messages from actor Robert Duvall? Experience and knowledge are important for everything you do in life, along with a sincere drive to convey information, thoughts, and feelings in any way you have at your disposal to perfect your craft. Every word you utter moves out to the world and makes profound changes. My simple message to everyone is make sure everything you do and engage in life, you acknowledge the effect it has on all human beings and make sure it's designed for your highest good as well as others. I enjoyed my life's journey, but I am sure that others will come along behind me and will gracefully take the things I left behind and build on them to make even greater contributions to the world. Make sure you invest in yourself and the arts, and this will pay back humanity tenfold. I send love and healing energy to my family, friends, and colleagues, and thank them for everything they did for me while on Earth. Remember, make sure you wish upon a star tonight, and I will definitely receive that message. Do not miss me, but take time to send good feelings and inspiration to those around you, just as I did along my life's journey. So a wonderful message there from actor Robert Duvall. 69, are there any messages from Reverend Jesse Jackson? The bridges I built for humanity during my lifetime were never meant to be a final destination, but designed to help you along the way to a better tomorrow. I believe everything you do in life should be done with passion and generosity so that every time you create a new vision, it resonates with someone in some way that is important to them. It is wonderful beyond words to reconnect with my fellow brethren on the other side, and I'm happy to report that everyone that inspired me along the way in my life is alive and well here on the other side. In this time for humanity, I can now help in much greater ways from the other side than I was able to in the remaining years of my life on Earth. Life is a gift, and you need to share your life with others in the same way that I try to along with my life and the powerful souls I am here with right now. We all have the ability to do great things in our lives, but we need hope, faith, and conviction from those around us to stimulate the process. I can assure you that you have not seen all the great things humanity will achieve in the next several years. I can see it all now in ways that I could not while I was on Earth. Blessings to everyone, and remember, when you believe in yourself and the world, everything is possible. So, wonderful message from the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and I like to convey them exactly the way and the words they want to use. So, happy to, as I would say, be a podium, be a telephone for the other side. Continuing on with the countdown, number 68. The current Zorro Ranch owner in New Mexico is doing construction and demolition on the property after New Mexico is finally investigating possible bodies buried on the ranch. Is this true, and are they doing it to destroy evidence of Epstein's crimes? They're definitely trying to destroy evidence. However, there's such an abundance of evidence, and the magnitude of the crimes is so extensive, they're not going to be able to cover up the massive amount of evidence that's on that ranch. So, actually, as predicted by my team last week, they're starting the process now. 6745 just announced he is instructing the Pentagon and other authorities to release anything associated with UFOs, UAPs, and extraterrestrials. Will this actually happen? Only a very small fraction of evidence is going to come out regarding thousands of UAP sightings. I don't get anything substantive is going to come out regarding extraterrestrial interaction and what they're doing here on Earth. That's coming as part of a further full disclosure process that won't involve the 45 administration. 66. Will 45's White House ballroom plans ever be fully completed? No, I get they'll never be completed under his administration. No, before he departs. 65. Now that Andrew is at Mountbatten Windsor, also known as Prince Andrew, has been arrested, what does your team see ahead for him? Will he give up information on 45 to save himself? I do see approximately 10 years of prison time for Prince Andrew, his former name. Also, I see that he is going to give up a lot of information regarding Epstein, and this is all part of the large-scale information release that's starting to happen from overseas, but from many overseas locations. So yes, he'll give up information on 45, many other people in society, oligarchs. It's all part of a flood of information coming, but I do see prison time for him. 64, as part of the 30-year reset, will Epstein-type crimes ever stop or at least lessen to a more significant degree? I do see that like within 2 decades, that means the year 2046, a lot of this type of crime will start to go by the wayside. So it'll start to diminish across humanity. 63, has 45's window to escape closed, or do we still see him leaving? My team still sees him leaving for the Middle East, and this has never changed. As a lot of things are kind of closing in on 45, he'll leave. Let me take a quick footnote here to discuss the AIM strategy. And I actually meant to do that at the beginning of the show, but I want to discuss that. If you're new to the show, in November of the election year, my team said that there was going to be an AIM strategy in effect. What's AIMS? A standing for analysis, I investigation, M movement of the military, S separation. This all relates to the electronic election interference that took place during the presidential election, November 2024. Now, free will controls how fast this process moves. The A, I, and the M are kind of those channels of the strategy are in effect right now. You're not seeing everything in public right now, but they're moving ahead. The separation phase is taking longer. That's the free will component of humanity, speed, scope, and scale. But it looks to me, from my team's perspective, that the separation phase will in fact take place for the 45 administration this year within 2026. So I know people want things to happen faster, but I want to address the AIM strategy. A lot of people ask about it. The segments of the AIM strategy are basically all in play, and the separation phase, although it's starting to happen, it's going to take a little bit longer here. So hopefully that helps. 62. What do you see regarding Alex Karp, CEO and co-founder of Palantir? He presents as an unstable, dangerous individual. We continue on as head of Palantir. He will. I see him actually still continuing leadership with that company for at least a decade, 10 years, but doing it more from offshore rather than being in the US. 61. Newly released emails in the Epstein file suggest that two foreign girls may have been killed and buried in the hills outside Jeffrey Epstein's former home in New Mexico. Is there any truth to this? If so, will any evidence be found to validate this claim? I cannot speak to, let's say, two foreign girls. I'm not exactly sure here, but there was a plethora, a large-scale crime that went on at that around that ranch, involved many individuals, many individuals. So I can't speak specifically to two foreign girls. It looks like there's more than that. Okay, but actually a lot of bodies are going to be uncovered on that Zorro Ranch. 60. Will the conditions in these horrible concentration camps be fully disclosed, and will they be shut down? To a minor extent, some of them will be shut down, but I see a number of the camps or these concentration or these holding facilities still being in effect for at least 2 years to come. 2 years. So it's going to take that long to shut down kind of a lot of what's going on here with these holding facilities for immigrants. What's going on around the 45 administration. 59. Don Huffins, I believe is a former Texas senator from 2014 to 2019 and a real estate developer. His family bought the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico from and pledges proceeds to benefit the victims of Epstein. He's currently running for Texas comptroller. Will he manage to win the comptroller position? It does appear he's going to win the comptroller position in Texas. It does appear that way. Yeah. 58. It seems 45 has gathered staff who are implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein files and therefore willing to do his bidding to save themselves. You see this including Pam Bondi. I do. I do see that there's a connection here, the whole Epstein situation, and I do see that there's some, let's say, false loyalty going on there, which is why she's backing the 45 administration. So I do see, the question here is, do you see Pam Bondi, including Pam Bondi? Yeah, I do see her included in that kind of, that web, that architecture of people that are somehow aligned to 45 based on what happened around the whole Epstein saga and the Epstein crimes. So I did like she's very kind of buried in that whole situation. 57. Once all the Jeffrey Epstein files are released, will it help to abolish international rings run by the rich and powerful? In a sense, it's going to make it more difficult for them to operate in the US like in Canada, but I still see like parts of Asia and the Middle East going on for a long time. What's a long time? Like 2 decades. So it's like there's a segmentation around the world, like greatly reduced US and Canada, and even reduced like even around Australia, believe it or not, but then still kind of moving ahead for 2 decades in parts of Asia and the Middle East. 56. Will Texas Governor Abbott be out of office soon? Don't see he's going to be out of office soon. It looks like he's going to remain in power, have some sort of a stranglehold on power still around Texas. 55. How will people be able to afford living longer in the future? It's going to be a natural progression of new society programs, new government programs. Looks like maybe increases in Social Security, those types of programs. I don't see universal basic income happening in the U.S. and a lot of people talk about it. But it looks like a change, a shift in societal norms, government programs, increased Social Security. It looks like some things will happen, societal changes will happen to accommodate that. 54. I often think that one day when I look into the sky, I'll be filled with extraterrestrial motherships. Do you see this happening anytime soon? It's already taking place right now, but there's a lot of cloaking technology that's being used. This cloaking technology is government. A lot of governments around the world have tried to reverse engineer this cloaking technology. Think about it in simple terms as if you have a large mothership in the sky, with, let's say, a camera that's backwards facing so it can film the sky behind the ship, and then somehow projecting that on the ship, it will make it look like the ship disappears. It's still there, but the ship on the front side is showing what's really behind it. There's cloaking, so these ships are all over. So eventually, within a few years, what's a few years? 2 years, 3 years, see a lot of motherships. Right now, they're there, a lot of cloaking technology being used. 53, will the Galactic Federation members, those who assist the Earth's population, problems and technology, etc., also spend time assisting individual Homo sapiens sapiens with healing, ascension, and abundance? No, this is like not the function of the Galactic Federation. The Galactic Federation is like the United Nations, so it's like a governing body, an organizing body. Individual extraterrestrial groups will already share technology, healing information, those kinds of things. However, in regards to the Galactic Federation, that kind of governmental ruling body, that's really not what they're designed for. 52, do you see Thomas Massie remaining safe during the Epstein files releases? Yes, I do see him safe, and I see him driving ahead and pushing for a lot of information releases, kind of like the voice of reason in a lot of areas. But I do see him remaining safe for some reason, not just physically, but looks like he has a lot of angels around him that are kind of protecting him, helping him with information. So yeah, it looks like he'll remain safe as well as his family. 51, during a life review, are there only emotions involved or are there videos, audio, and such all going on with that process? It's a comprehensive, immersive experience. Think about like immersive entertainment experiences. You experience everything. You experience what you went through, what you experienced, what you put out to people, what people felt. You experience the emotions, the physicality. So it's a comprehensive, immersive experience, all meant and designed to elevate your soul, to go through the lessons you're supposed to learn when you were down here. 50. Hello, Sterling. Do extraterrestrial populations experience criminal acts on their planet like theft, murder, etc.? How are they punished? Actually, these are extremely rare for extraterrestrial groups. Extraterrestrial groups don't get involved in murder and mayhem. They actually, the universe is so expansive that it just doesn't happen that way. These are more fear-based elements that happen here on Earth with Homo sapiens sapiens. So murder is extremely rare, almost non-existent. There's more fights over territory in the universe, territorial fights, but it doesn't really get down to murder per se, which is what they're asking about here, or destruction of others. 49, will the pension program in the Netherlands be viable for the next 30 years? I don't know what this is all about, but I pick up like a three-tier system that might be in effect right now. I don't know if this is like contributions by the government, contributions by people, investments. It looks like it will be around for the next 30 years, but they're going to shift more into like investment related, like generating proceeds from investments rather than direct contributions. So it's going to shift around a little bit, is what I'm seeing. It'll still be there, yes. 48. There's been a recent surge in Alberta, Canada, separatist sentiments. There is foreign interference by the US government and American oil and gas companies. Canadians feel the province's leadership is corrupt and compromised. Can they be stopped? I see they're going to remain in power, so not stopped. But I don't see, we're talking about Alberta here, I don't see that province separating from Canada. I know a lot of talk about it, but I don't see it. It's almost is on the same, lines of whether, Texas or Florida was going to separate from the US or something. No, I see that they'll still remain in power and remain a force for at least another decade, like a strong decade here, but that won't cause a separation of like Alberta. 47, will the British royal family exist in the future? The Epstein files have shown the level of authority they have to hide their finances and avoid accountability. The institution's only going to be around for about 2 more decades, about 20 more years. It's already on the progressive accelerated decline. Not just what happened here around Prince Andrew, but all sorts of other things going on. So its time has come, actually, as part of the whole 3 decade reset, 2020 to 2050. This is one of the major changes the Earth is going to see, is the gradual exit of kind of the royal structure, the royal family, won't serve humanity anymore. Okay. 46, if you pass in a watery grave like the Titanic, is your spirit stuck there? And can spirits visit or haunt a vessel that sank to the depths of the ocean? So spirits are never stuck. They always move on. You always move into the light. Spirits may come back to visit a location because they feel like there's something there, that they can learn or still they're grappling with as part of their life lesson process. But no, they're not stuck, but they can come back to visit. It's true. 45, please update us on the war in Ukraine. Is it going to stop anytime this year? I do get it actually should have stopped last year. That looks like, here, free will, speed, scope, and scale, and a lot of chaos got involved. It does appear it's going to get stopped this year in 2026. It will get stopped. But what I also see is that still, my team always says about 8% of the land mass in Ukraine, as part of the negotiation, will end up going to Russia. These may be territories already occupied by Russia. But yes, it does appear that in 2026, looks like the war will be stopped. Russia is really in a bad place right now. That gives them some momentum, some drive to kind of stop everything. 44, will there be any breakthroughs in reattaching the retinas in one's eye without surgery? Within 5 years, I do see robotics breakthroughs using artificial intelligence, so like robotic surgery using AI backends to do surgery. So there'll still be a surgery, but it'll be less invasive somehow. So it gets down to a very microscopic level, like a cellular level, and it's the robotics. The system that they're going to use will be AI driven. So there'll be a lot of basic information there as to exactly how to execute the operation. So downtime will be less. So it's still going to be a surgery, but it's almost like it's going to be much faster. Like it'll be like a 1 minute or like a 2 minute surgery, like very quick. 43, if the United States president is proved to be illegitimate, would the pardons and executive orders be overturned? No, not in a general sense. It looks like a lot of the pardons will still stand. But I do see that this is going to generate like 12 amendments to the Constitution. They're going to stop a lot of this in the future. So it looks like some of this will be water under the bridge, like we won't be able to overturn. They're talking about here pardons and executive orders. Looks like they won't be able to overturn a vast majority of them. They won't overturn them. But it's going to lead to a drive to get at least a dozen amendments to the Constitution that are going to prevent this happening in the future. 42, can you elaborate further on what you describe as entities? Does everything have a soul? So an entity is something, it has some sort of consciousness or awareness, is what we describe, like they're asking about entity. They have some sort of a consciousness or awareness. That includes everything in the universe, has some sort of an awareness or a conscience. Insects, animals, all Homo sapiens sapiens. Even physical objects, trees, mountains. Some might argue that rocks per se don't, but even some rocks, believe it or not, have an awareness or a consciousness, an awareness of what they're all about. If you think about, going that extreme, we're talking about rocks, you're talking about mountains. Mountains absolutely have awareness and a consciousness, and people communicate with them all the time. So everything, entity is anything that exists here on Earth or even on the other side with an awareness or a consciousness. Almost everything has that. Probably the only thing that doesn't have it, like maybe clothing. But even some cars have an awareness, right? They have a physical spirit that gets attached to the car. Some cars have personalities or protect their people. Yeah, it's interesting. So entities is a very broad term, but think about anything that has consciousness or awareness. 41, what is the situation with many psychics predicting a giant gas cloud and a volcano? When and when will this happen on west shores of the U.S.? I don't see any truth to these assertions. I don't know where this is all coming from. Don't know anything about this, but there are some major earthquakes going to happen on the West Coast and in California. California is not going to drop into the ocean. I know for some reason a lot of people think that comes out of some Edgar Casey predictions. Don't ever, my team has never seen that as happening. If you go thousands of years in the future, there's some kind of movement of a number of the continents on the US, but that's thousands of years in the future. Don't see any large gas clouds or something erupting. There are volcanoes going to be erupting around the world. I think this person's asking about the west coast of the US. So there's no truth to those assertions. 40. What is the future of doctors and their salaries and job security? It's going to evolve with the evolution of artificial intelligence. So doctors will still be required, salaries will still be commensurate with what they're doing, but it can be utilizing new tools, artificial intelligence-based tools. We talked about robotics, very advanced robotics in the operating room. But remember, AI is going to come out as a massive, very helpful tool for humanity. You still want to have the interface with doctors. And actually, the tools coming online will mean that doctors can service larger portions of humanity. So think about it as an expansion of doctors' ability, for example, in this case, to help large troughs of humanity. Okay. 39. Hi, Sterling and team. When a person dies from an illness, do they see themselves cured immediately upon entering the non-physical, or do they see themselves as ill and it takes a bit of time to heal? You instantaneously are removed, you're effectively healed. As you cross over, you leave behind your human frailties. Illnesses is like part of a human frailty, is what you experience here on earth. That does not attach to the soul. So when you cross over, you immediately are relieved of any of the earthbound illnesses or things that you had here, and you start moving on to kind of a life review and meeting with others you haven't seen in a long time, family members, people you loved in life. But yeah, it's not, the illness is all part of kind of an earthbound life lesson. 38. Hello, Sterling. Plato told us about Atlantis, and so did Edgar Casey. What can your guides tell us? It existed around 360 BC, something like that. It sunk into the ocean. It was a real island in the Atlantic. It sunk into the ocean due to a high-tech nuclear explosion, the technology that got out of hand. Much the same way humanity's playing with technology now, Homo sapiens sapiens, although it's not going to lead to another destruction of humanity. But it did exist. Yeah, it was a Greek philosopher that first talked about it. 360, 400 BC, something like that. And it was a nuclear accident, and it was an island in the Atlantic. 37, diverse spiritual sources are predicting catastrophic Earth rift in the Indian Ocean that will be heard worldwide and release poisonous gases is true. So here's another poisonous gases question. There's a lot of massive earthquake activity in the Indian Ocean. We've been forecasting it, talking about it, putting up hot off the presses when they occur. There's three very massive tectonic plates that merge in that area. That's what a lot of activity. Don't see massive gases or catastrophic Earth rift. No. Again, there are some thousands of years in the future, but not anything that this round of humanity is going to be concerned with. 36, in response to people's questions regarding their clairs, I often hear you indicate they're at about a 10 or 20% level. What does it mean to be 10% clairaudient and clairvoyant look like? What would they be experiencing? So a good way to look at this is like signal strength. So if you have 10% signal strength, like on your cell phone, you might catch every other word, or the transmission's very spotty, it's very sporadic. What's important about that, if you have sporadic communication, let's say a guy's trying to tell you, don't do this, and you don't get the word don't, and you just hear do this, you got the completely wrong message. So it's like having a bad signal. I find that as people get up to like 50% level of attainment of like clairaudient ability, they actually then go through times where they have extremely good communication, where they're actually hearing real time, and then not at all. So it's a progression, but think about as like signal level, signal strength on a cell phone. That's kind of the best way to look at it. 35. Will the president actually give the State of the Union address on the 24th of February? Uh, okay, that's really the question. Will he really give the address? Yes, it appears he'll give the State of the Union address on the 24th. It will not be everything he anticipates. He's completely underwater, and there are a lot of things happening worldwide. This is a slow drip of the exit that's finally going to occur, or the separation for 45. But yes, he'll give the State of the Union. 34. No one yet knows how dreams truly originate. Are they also messages from the spiritual world, or do they arise solely from one's own brain? So dreams are free-flowing communication when your logical mind kind of decouples from like your soul. Not to get esoteric about all this, but when you relax your logical mind, you actually are much able, what they call the creative mind center, the imagination center. That opens up wide. That's an easy place for spirits, your angels, your guides to communicate with you. So dreams come through that imagination section of the brain, creative mind center, call it. And that's really where dreams come from. You're opening up the channel to hear what people on the other side want to communicate with you, including your angels and guides. 33. What can you tell us about Dan Davis, a 59-year-old Illinois man last seen on November 26, 2025 in Blue Island, Illinois? He is believed to have had a medical episode prior to being in a car accident. It looks like he had a medical episode, but I don't know. I'm getting something like unwilling participant in either like a robbery or a crime, like he wasn't supposed to see it. And so I'm getting here is that this is like somebody trying to hush him up. And it does appear, wow, appears this could be, like an organized crime element. I'm not saying this individual with Dan Davis was involved in organized crime, but it's like being at the wrong place, wrong time, witnessing something, and then trying to shut him up. So unfortunately, this is not a good end for him. But it looks like I'm getting like an organized crime element, witnessing a crime, witnessing something you shouldn't have seen. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay. Oh, so it's all very close to Chicago. I'm getting, I don't know, there's organized crime elements around Chicago here. Okay. 32, could you help explain what actually happens inside a black hole? It seems every galaxy has a supermassive one at its center. Black holes are places where science breaks down and theories exist about what happens inside one. Time, space, gravity have been observed to change as you get closer to a black hole. Some theorize that they are creators of the new universe, wormholes, or power plants. What does your team say about the creation and purpose? So black holes are regions in the universe created by collapsing stars. They create tremendously high gravitational pulls. But by virtue of that, the way the universe is constructed, when you merge like these black holes, these collapsing star areas, they actually create what they call wormholes or portals or shortcuts through the universe. A good way to explain a shortcut is like if you take a piece of paper and like that's the whole universe, for example, a piece of paper holding in your hands. Now you fold it in half or just kind of roll it in half. You actually can get to one edge of the paper to the other edge of the paper extremely fast, right? You put the edges of the paper together. Even though if you unfold the paper, that's like the entire universe. So think about wormholes as, or black holes as these shortcuts, but there are actually many throughout the universe. Remember, there's actually 20 trillion galaxies. There's billions of stars even in our galaxy. This is not a very commonplace. The other thing I'll tell you, I get from my team all the time, is that wormholes have a lot of what are called dark matter. Dark matter. Think about dark matter as like a planet, like Earth. It's there, but let's say you couldn't see it. But so you have all the gravitational pulls, but you can't see it. You can put your hand out and touch it, but you can't see it. So for whatever reason, these wormholes, these collapsing stars create massive regions we'll call dark matter. So you can see the gravitational pull. Might be way more technical, whoever asked the question wanted to know, but I felt the need just to kind of lay that out there because all these are related to collapsing stars, wormholes, dark matter. 31. If a person experienced a lot of trauma, depression, hardship throughout their life, how does that impact their life review? Well, characteristically, if you created harm for others, you'll experience that. If it was not something intentional or is based in love, you'll experience that too. So remember, the life review is all about elevating your soul, making sure you understood the life lessons you're supposed to learn when you were here. 30, Brian Tyler Cohen posted a video of his interview with former President Obama, who answered the question, are ETs real? With a response of, yes, they're real, but I haven't seen any of them in person. His candid response surprised me, given that our government has systematically tried to cover it up. Is this candid response plan part of an unveiling process? Well, yes, in a way. He's not allowed to disclose exactly what's going on. So it's interesting. He went that close to say they're real, but he hasn't seen any. He's actually met them, but you can't disclose that. So there are certain presidents that have been taken under the veil, so to speak, told what's going on. He's one of them. I applaud him for kind of getting that close to the topic. All this will come out in terms of full disclosure very shortly. It's already started. Full disclosure's already started. Everything you're seeing going on around you is going to lead up to that. 29, Meta has permanently disabled thousands of Facebook and Instagram accounts over the last few months. Their AI detection system has been falsely accusing people of violating community guidelines for various reasons with no evidence or proof. Will Meta be held accountable for their false accusations? Will these accounts be restored? I see something like two-thirds of the accounts on the appeals process will be restored. Don't see all the accounts being restored. It looks like the AI algorithm did identify some troublesome accounts. I'm getting like two-thirds of the accounts will come back online within this year. It'll take an appeals process. I think people will be going through. So there's a workaround here, a workout plan that's going to happen. But about one-third of them looks like they'll stay permanently deleted. Uh-huh. 28. AG Pam Bondi behaves like it's normal for women and young girls to be abused, and we believe she is covering up for 45. Was she also a victim, like these victims, but took it as a way to get ahead in life and accepted it? I do see she encountered abuse around the Epstein situation, and I do believe that has certainly colored her interpretation of what's going on around her and how she drives forward in life. So it's coming from a place of fear and anger, resentment. Yes, so I see there's a connection there, and somehow all that translated into her fighting for 45, which is a very interesting outcome. But I do see she's involved. There's some abuse going on there with her around the whole Epstein situation. 27, the current occupant of the White House is limiting his public interactions and meetings to only once a day between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Is he far more ill than we think? Yes, and you're going to see important additional signs of his health and illness levels as we get out further into March of 2026. 26, will full disclosure rid the earth of oligarch power? I mean, eventually, after we get out past the whole full 3-decade reset, so it's not full disclosure of extraterrestrials, but as you get through the 3-decade reset, as you get out to 2050, that's when a lot of this stuff's going to re-level out, right? That's all part of the 3-decade reset, 2020 to 2050. 25, do the people in the 45 administration know how badly they are hurting the country and do not care? Do they think their reputations after this administration will be held intact? No, many of them don't care. They're concerned with short-term financial gains, becoming multimillionaires, and they feel like they'll just have some sort of an exit strategy and they'll just move on. So they have no focus whatsoever around humanity. They lack empathy. It's just really all about focus on oneself. Okay. 24, when you predict passings, are you given the name of the person or just what they do or affiliate with? Yes, very often I'm given the names of the people that will be passing, but I do not share those names out of respect for the family. So think about it. No family necessarily would want to know that an impending passing or a death is coming up. And I'm talking, let's say, we talk about people in the public life. It's really, remember, the gift or the telephone gift that I use, you're never meant to be able to change life course or life lessons. So think about that. If you release that information, said this person's going to pass on this day, that person might do something different that would change. It's like a ripple in time. It's kind of an abstract concept, but you're not allowed to change life lessons or things going on here. The whole reason for bringing information through is not like, it's not like a magic trick per se, but it's to say that there's a larger universal plan going on around everybody. That's what the information's for, is to say, look, there are no accidents. Even accidents are not accidents, right? All part of a universal plan that everybody's a part of. 23, why are some people traumatized by memories of violent past lives, others aren't? It's all based on the collection of human attributes you want to bring down to earth based on the lessons you want to learn. So, nothing to do with karma. Karma really are the set of life lessons you decide to take on here on earth. But people may say, something based on very difficult time I had in a past life. I want to revisit that. Or I want to not only work through it on this life, but then I want to help others work through it. So it's all based on the human attributes you ask for when you come down. 22, high Sterling on February 2nd, 2020, Super Bowl Sunday. Abby Flynn from Gloucester, Massachusetts, disappeared from her home. She spoke to her son via FaceTime at 2:40 p.m. in the afternoon and said she was going to go for a walk in the neighborhood. Abby was never seen or heard from again. Can you please tell us what happened to Abby? I get this was a crime of opportunity by someone not known to her. So consider like kind of wrong place, wrong time, no accidents in the universe. But it's something here like a crime of opportunity, why somebody grabbed her, being in some sort of a location that made her at risk for that. It's interesting enough, I do believe that there's going to be DNA. Okay, what I'm getting is whoever this perpetrator was has already done this other times. This was in 2020. But like DNA that's derived from this person and things he has. There's like a DNA connection going to be made around this person that went missing, Abby Flynn. So they're actually going to be able to solve this case within 1 to 2 years here. It might be late this year, but I'm getting a DNA connection here. So not only the DNA of the perpetrator, that's something he may have kept from Abby, clothing or something here will tie him to all this. And so there'll be justice in this case. 21, the human population continues to grow by leaps and bounds, and we are the most polluting, destructive creatures on Earth. Why are the extraterrestrials not stopping our destruction of the planet and also control our population numbers? So extraterrestrials can never get involved in humanity's lessons, right? So that's not their job. One of their jobs is to stop the annihilation of humanity. That's very true. People always bring up the example of what happened around Hiroshima or the nuclear explosions. That actually effectively was part of humanity's lessons. It actually, someone would argue, it brought an end to that world war. But they can't get involved. They're going to give humanity technology, green technologies, free energy, cold fusion technology. It's all coming. But they can't necessarily just stop and correct. This is a school down here. So extraterrestrials cannot get involved in limiting the lessons for humanity. 20, will the SAVE Act go all the way through Congress and affect voting, especially for women who were married and took on their spouse's name? It does appear it's going to pass the Senate by a very close margin. And I read on this before. It looks like it's going to drive the requirement for like real IDs in all 50 states. Looks like it's going to get passed by a very close margin here. I still see a lot of consternation around it. So even though I see like everybody pushing for real IDs in all 50 states, there's some sort of a workaround going to be here too. That's interesting. Well, some states are going to like say, okay, if you don't have a real ID, you can have these three pieces of ID. Something going on here. So it's not a fait accompli. There's a process going to be going on around this. 19. My newest granddaughter was born Thanksgiving week in my presence, as were my siblings. I remember you talking about souls returning if they choose after so many lifetimes. This child looked at me like she knew me and continues to, and she is just an infant. Is it possible this is the soul of someone that knew and loved me in the past? What you're describing here is actually a very old soul. A lot of very old souls, they have that look on their face, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, oh, I'm here again. And it looks like whoever asked this question, you were actually this child's mother in a prior lifetime, is what I'm getting around this whole situation. 18, in the X-Men films, Magneto's helmet blocks Professor Xavier from reading his mind, a serious psychic countermeasure. Does metal or electromagnetic shielding actually affect psychic or mediumship abilities? No, not at all. Not really at all. So if you have the complete gift, you can utilize it at any time you need it. Now, energetically, I mean, if something puts you in a bad state that makes you sick, yeah, so that affects your ability to concentrate, to focus. But metal helmets or what we're talking about, helmet blocks, no, nothing, no. You can read when you're underwater. You can read with your helmet. It doesn't matter. You have that ability. It's like a radio station that transmits no matter what. Okay. 17, billionaire Democrat Tom Steyer is running for governor in California. Does he have genuine intentions to help and serve California, or is he just another corrupt billionaire? I do see he has genuine concerns for California, and it's coming from a good place. However, it doesn't appear that he'll actually win the race in California, but it's coming across to my team and I that he's genuine about what he's trying to accomplish. 16, the Department of Homeland Security has subpoenaed Google, Meta, and other media companies for the names of people who have criticized ICE operations. Will these companies fight these subpoenas in court, or will they just turn over the information? I get they're going to turn over the information. They've already turned over the information kind of in the back room, so to speak, already, but it's not going to have the kind of effect that people are worried about. It does not look like there's going to be anything critically aggressive coming from the government based on this information. I know why people are trying to connect all the dots. Some of this information has already been released. It looks like the companies will look like they're trying to fight it in public, but already releasing information behind the scenes. But it won't have the direct effect of the government coming after people that talked about ICE, aggressively online. The dots won't get connected here, as I'm seeing it. It's going to kind of fall apart. 15, when you use the term full disclosure, does this mean not just extraterrestrials, but also the truth about religion, our government, and are people all going to wake up? Well, yeah, full disclosure, we talk about that, talks about the reality of how extraterrestrials are going to be involved, that have been involved for millions of years with humanity, and they're actually now going to be out in public again. They kind of revisit humanity every few thousand years. They come around in cycles. They're always here, but in terms of how they come out in humanity and make themselves known, in prior civilizations, people thought they were fire gods from the sky. So yes, when full disclosure takes place and humanity understands how we all got here, how species were deposited here, it wasn't all Adam and Eve. There's actually going to be a whole rebirth of religions and humanity's understanding of what's going on and what the one source, the one force is all about. Yes, so it'll drive tremendous change throughout humanity. It will, yes. 14, do you see the Port of Virginia located in Norfolk, Virginia being a target for foul play from enemies to the U.S.? It is not only used to ship and receive trade and goods, but also shelters the world's largest Navy base. Is it safe? It's going to come under a level of attack in future years, a few years out here, but looks like it may only cause, I'll call it minimal destruction. So maybe a ship might be sunk or something, but it's not going to be large scale destruction. Looks like we're going to be able to get ahead of it. Yeah, almost like a warning, like an early warning will come. But in a few years out, looks like there will be a hit on that area coming from an offshore. So it won't be domestic terrorism. It'll actually be an offshore. Interesting. An aggressive attack. I do see it. 13. Hyperhidrosis is the condition that causes excessive sweating and can also cause a person's temperature regulation to not work correctly. It can be very disruptive to daily life. Do you see a cure for this beyond the current Botox shots? I do see within about 8 years here, there'll be a genetically engineered medication, there'll be injectable that'll help with this. So it looks like scientists right now are doing what's called cell modeling right now. And so within about 8 years, there's going to be a medication, looks like an injection, that will counteract that. So whatever the effects of Botox are having, it'll actually be done kind of in a more efficient way. And I'm not a doctor, no medical background. I don't know if they have to give these injections like in the armpit area or something, but that won't be required. It'll actually be like an injection maybe once in the arm or something like that. Okay. 12. Will the 1,200 missing immigrants from Florida's alligator Alcatraz be located? I don't see substantially they're going to be located. They're in other countries right now, and it does not look like the vast majority will be located. They're in other countries, spread out, many other countries. Yeah. 11. The current 45 administration is dramatically expanding an effort to revoke U.S. citizenship for foreign-born Americans with criminal histories, or they have lied about cases in their country. Will this actually take place or will this be stopped? Yeah, so 45 administration is dramatically expanding the effort to revoke U.S. citizenship for foreign-born Americans with criminal histories. I do see that throughout 2026, there's going to be a big effort, yes, on individuals that have bona fide criminal backgrounds, either from where they came from or here in the U.S. It does look like that's going to be an aggressive, yes, that's going to move out in 2026. As we get towards the end of 2026, they'll be stopped for some reason. And then maybe more of those individuals will be tried here in the U.S. or something going on with all that. So some sort of a path to eventual citizenship. But yeah, for 2026, they're showing me this is actually going to roll out the way it's being proposed. But here again, it looks like they're really going to try to validate the crimes in other countries so that it's not just all smoke and mirrors. Okay. 10. Last week you indicated that many dog breeds and other animals were brought here by extraterrestrial species. If so, did dogs not evolve from wolves as previously thought, or were certain breeds just brought here at some point in time? No, they did not all evolve from wolves. They actually, all species were placed here. Now, people conflate, put this together. There's an evolutionary process that occurs on Earth. Yes, it's almost like planting a seed. You plant a species. Yes, that species evolves. But no, all dog species did not evolve from wolves. No, that's not the case. But there's some evolution, refinement of breeds as they were here. 9. The recent government purchases of numerous warehouses throughout the U.S. indicates they are planning nefarious use for them other than immigration detainees as their reported purpose. What do you see? I do see, by and large, the use is going to be to house immigrants or whatever's going on here. We just talked about people being, taken into custody that had crimes. They were foreign born, but they had crime before they got here. Yeah, I do see them being used for housing groups of individuals. That's going to kind of go by the wayside as we get out into 2027. Now, facilities will still be around, but like the push to utilize them, a lot of 2026, you're going to see that. Yeah, my team just remind me that it's like not necessarily going to be for people that make derogatory comments on social media platforms like TikTok or something, but it's going to be people that there's some sort of a crime connection. Yes, and that's why. So they're going to be utilizing those facilities to house people that fall into that category. 8. Shouldn't the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee make the AG answer the questions? As he is not doing this, why hasn't Jim Jordan been replaced? Extremely weak leadership in Congress that's afraid to go against 45 in the administration. Remember, they're all compromised. 7, are we able to speed up completing our life reviews on the other side if we're fast learners who quickly grasp our life lessons and the consequences of our actions? No, it's not really possible to move fast through your life lessons. It takes a while to get through your whole life review, and yeah, you may acknowledge the lessons, but it takes time to kind of relive some of those experiences. So that's what takes some of the time. You can't really rocket through it. No, everybody kind of moves through it at generally the same kind of a pace. Six, what is Edgar Casey's soul doing right now? He's still on the other side, assisting humanity, assisting many individuals through spiritual connections. He's still assisting many people from the other side. He still remains dedicated to humanity and trying to help healing and help humanity move forward. Yeah. Five, I've recently read that Florida as a state ranks third in the country for Bigfoot sightings, mostly in north central and northwest Florida. You have said in the past that Bigfoot creatures are shape shifting ETs. Just wondering what business they have in these Florida areas since there are no minerals that I know of there. No, I don't believe the reports are accurate, that whatever people are reporting, these are not the Bigfoot, Sasquatch, extraterrestrials. Don't see them a lot in Florida. No. There are many other areas of the country, a lot in the northwest of the US, for example, in California. But no, they're really not prominent in Florida. So whatever people are reporting, they're seeing something else. Four, in your perception, are many members of the current Washington administration extraterrestrial beings who have taken on human form? No, no connection whatsoever to extraterrestrials taking on human form in the current administration. No. I guess I'll put a footnote in there. Some people think reptilians have taken human form, and no, that's not the case. And number three, number two, and number one, I take notes before we start these shows, and I'll read those back to you right now. Number three, what do your extraterrestrial friends want to share with us this week? This is a time that humanity must take life seriously or humanity will not survive. We'll continue to prevent humanity from making catastrophic choices, but remember, free will allows humanity to accelerate towards better solutions and outcomes. We are all watching closely. Number two, what do you see coming up this week? Major earthquake in the North Atlantic region off the coast of the U.S. with no major loss of life. Fires in Western Australia continue and expand in scope. U.S. strike on Iran nuclear facilities. New congressional vote and efforts to remove 45 and his administration. New Jack Smith information releases to the public and distributed by major media outlets. FCC chairman asked to step down amid controversy across many broadcast areas. Unredacted files released relative to the Jeffrey Epstein files coming from Europe. Boat accident involving one of the major oligarchs and searches for the vessel reveal top secret information. New bird sanctuary proposed and approved for several regions of the world to safeguard certain species. New oil spill in the Gulf region due to a faulty drilling platform. And number one, do you have anything your guides want to share? Remember to always thank spiritual teams for all the progress you are making in life prior to helping others with their challenges. Thanking yourself and your spiritual team makes you a superhero when you help others because you come from a sincere place of gratitude. And on that note, that concludes the show we're recording today on February 21st, 2026, posted to our YouTube channel on Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. I will be doing a show with Linda G, the Comanche Psychic. That'll be on Linda G's channel. You can look for that. We'll record that on Sunday. I think she usually posts the same day. Again, that's Linda G, the Comanche Psychic. You can find her channel up on YouTube. Again, one last item. If you'd like to join our live streams I do on Fridays and answer all your personal questions, you can join our YouTube Platinum membership. The join button's on the front page of our YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as our website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. On that note, I'm going to send out goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.